I will get the meeting kicked off. I just want to quickly say we are recording the meeting as always. It's going to be posted onto our website after the meeting's over. And if you happen to get a thing about an AI summary, just testing it. We getting the minutes done for these meetings is always a beast of a job. So we're testing out how Zoom's AI works for assisting with that. So nothing totally scandalous is happening with your information. As people are putting, joining, if you could enter your name and affiliation in the chat, we'd greatly appreciate it. We have lots of new faces, which is fantastic. I'm gonna move us along. Just as a reminder, here's our mission statement. We're a professional network established to foster sustainable and resilient coastal communities and ecosystems by generating informed action. I should have said this is our first of the year of our full partnership meetings for the New Jersey Coastal Resilience Collaborative. So we're excited to have you all here. It's our methods as well. An agenda. Y'all should have received it. I'm going to also drop a new version into the chat for you with some updates in it. If I can find the right window. You might have to give me a minute for that. I think it should work. All right, there's the new agenda. And next up, I think we're going to start by asking Tony McDonald, UCI, to give us our welcome.
Yes, so welcome. I guess I want to really, again, be incredibly thrilled by how many folks are here. We are galloping, thanks to a lot of work that you hear about, toward the Resilient Community Summit and Conference, Coastal Conference, that's going to be here at Monmouth in March. And so really have stood on the shoulders of many people on this call, but also will be an opportunity for us to join together in the community. So very, very excited about that potential and all the work, and thankful for all the work that's gone into that. There are many other updates that folks are going to share. I don't know if she's on the call, but I definitely want to, two things. I want to welcome Liz Semple to the co-chair of this group. So very, very pleased that Liz has joined us, and very thankful to Tim Dillingham for all the work that he put in over the years. And he's not leaving us, but he's no longer co-chairing the group. So really very grateful for that. We are also just trying to really sustain kind of this leadership now that I think the work in many of our organizations is increasing around resilience. And so we want to continue to provide a forum that provides value added to all the activities that are happening across our partners. And we'll hear about some of that today as well. And with that, Laura and Tom, unless I missed anything I was supposed to say, I'd turn it back to you, and let's get going.
All right. Thank you, Tony. Again, we just want to welcome everybody here and remind you, if you're still popping on as a new person, to please enter your name and affiliation in the chat. As we like to do every meeting, we want to give a shout out to our new NJCRC partners. We have 3 new general partners and 1 new resource affiliate. I think most of them are here and going to give a quick introduction. So first I want to introduce Mike Galvin from JMT to come off mute and just give us a quick hello and who you are, what you're doing.
Hey, Laura. Yeah, I'll be super quick. You put us right at the first thing on the agenda. So it's intimidating. My name is Mike Galvin. I'm with JMT. We're a full service engineering firm. We have 2 offices in New Jersey, an office in Philadelphia, an office in New York. But we we do a lot of projects that are driven by resiliency decisions, and so we have full again gamut of services, everything from some of your initial assessments, environmental services, structural, hard infrastructure services, and then we have design all the way through construction management, construction inspection. And Laura, you're one of the first people I met virtually when I moved up here to New Jersey last year, and I just started hopping on Google trying to find my type of people to spend time with here outside of working hours. So excited to help out any way I can.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Mike. All right, I'm going to ask Arthur, I think is on here as well.
Hi, I'm Arthur Chu. I have an engineering firm. I've done resiliency projects in Monmouth Beach for dune restoration and living shorelines all the way down to Ocean City, Ventnor, Margate, Brigantine. So
Thanks, Arthur. And I think James Duffy is going to give an update. These are the representatives for these organizations. So National Wildlife Federation, it's James Duffy and Chris Hill. I think I'm pronouncing it.
Thanks, Laura. Hi, everyone. I'm James Duffy. I am a Coastal Resilience Program Manager with National Wildlife Federation. I was previously with New Jersey DEP, where I was supporting their watershed restoration grant program. At NWF, in our Coastal Resilience Program, we partner with state coastal zone management programs and frontline coastal communities to offer direct support and assistance for capacity on coastal resilience projects, ranging from proposal and grant proposal development and design all the way through project management. And as a New Jersey DEP alum, happy to be engaging in New Jersey and looking forward to building National Wildlife Federation's partnerships in the New Jersey coastal space going forward. So happy to be a part of this group.
Thanks so much, James. And I don't think we have anybody from Renova here. If you do, please feel free to.
Hey, Laura, this is Jack Lennox with Renova.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Filling
Thanks.
in for Paulo. I see some folks I know here as well. Renova Environmental Company, we're a environmental contractor constructing coastal protection projects, living shoreline projects, as well as some eco contracting up in the riverine area as well, doing dam removals and stream restoration as well.
Thanks so much, Jack. So we're thrilled to have our new partners. And if you think you know of other partners that should be joining our NJCRC collaborative, please pass along our website, membership form, or their name along to Tom and I, and we'll try to recruit them. Moving on, we are going to get a very exciting update about our all-consuming conference that we're hosting with DEP, as hopefully everybody is well aware of.
Thanks, Laura. Hopefully I'll be excited. I'm not feeling it right now. But we have our conference coming up March 12th, 13th, and 14th. That's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And we'll have sessions all 3 days, as well as a field trip on the second part of the last day. We received 3 times as many abstracts as I think we thought we were going to get. So we thank everyone for having so much interest, and sorry we couldn't fit it all in. But it does bode well for future years. So we ended up with a great combination of academics, government representatives, private sector, NGOs, and even one high school student. We will have a poster session, but we haven't quite gotten to the details of that yet. So if you're interested in that, keep your ears and eyes open, and we'll be reaching out to folks on the poster session. But right now we have about 19 or 20 sessions / panels set up. Excited for those. They range from climate resilience to communication, municipality support, coastal restoration and transportation. We have a couple plenary speakers lined up. I think you'll be excited when you hear them. We're just finalizing the details with those. But the 3 days, what we're looking to do is get together in the morning and in the afternoon. So we'll have those plenary sessions in the morning and afternoon, and then break up to the different contributed sessions. So hopefully you'll be able to do some deep dives into what you're interested in, but also get together with folks to hear about some more broader issues. We'll also be having some extracurricular activities, and we're working on the details of those. I think that's all I have. The field trip details will be coming out soon. So I guess the last note I want to make sure everyone is aware of is we do have limited space. So if you're interested in attending, I would sign up as soon as possible. And if you have trouble because you have to get something from your agency and that slows up the payment, let us know and we can hold your space. But if you're interested, please do sign up as soon as possible. Also, one other detail, we'll be having the Whova app. If you've been to a conference that uses Whova, it's a really great tool to help you manipulate through the process and also connect with others at the conference, both before, after, and during the conference. So stay tuned for all those details. That's all I got. Thanks, Laura.
Thanks, Terry. I'm gonna add, I apologize if you said it and I missed it, but I think registration isn't open to everybody yet. We're just registering conference speakers right now, and then we're going to send out the information to the partnership not long after that. So probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I would say you'll probably get information on how to register. And as Terry said, it'll be space is limited. All right, next up, thanks, Terry. Terry and Ashley Connor from DEP have been working so hard to get that all done. So they've done a ton of work and really appreciative of it. Next, I think Tom is gonna lead this part off.
Yeah. So next up, we have progress reports from our work groups within the NJCRC. As you know, all the work really that gets done for the collaborative is done in the work groups, and work groups come together based on a common interest among partners. And if they have an idea they want to pitch to the leadership committee and it's approved, then they're formed and they go ahead and focus on a topic relevant to the interest of the collaborative. And so right now we have five work groups, which is quite a bit for us, I think. And we have our standing communications work group as well. So what we did, we actually asked all the work groups at the end of this year to prepare a annual work plan for 2024. And they've done that. They vetted those work plans through the leadership committee, and all were approved to move forward. And so we're going to get an update on those work plans and other ideas the work groups are working toward. And so first up, we have our beneficial use learning network. And I invite Adriana to come off mute and tell us a little bit about what they're doing.
Sure. Thanks, Tom. Just pulling up my notes. So since we have some new faces, the Beneficial Use Learning Network is a regional multi-organizational working group that falls under the NJCRC. It's for parties from any of the industries related to the beneficial use of dredge sediment for restoration. So that includes members from the dredging community, regulatory community, restoration practitioners, coastal engineers. We try to soup to nuts all the pieces that go into these projects, gather people together. It's really a learning exchange forum, learning from on-the-ground projects. So projects that have actually happened, how did they go? What would you do differently, so that we can inform and kind of create a body of work around this new and emerging practice for restoration. So as Tom said, we've all created annual work plans. So we've been a little quiet this last year, trying to synthesize the first 2 years of activity, producing webinars and doing learning exchange, providing case studies on a number of focal projects. So those resource documents are still in progress. We're hoping to roll them out hot off the press at the CRC conference, in case you guys need another reason to go. And looking forward, we are resuming our learning exchange activities, and that will include webinars, field trips, and maybe even a workshop through some partnership with some of the other work groups. So really excited to get people out on these projects and really continue to advance the practice and promote learning exchange from the great work that's being done by so many partners around the state and throughout the region. We're going to be informing our learning pathway by having an late winter, early spring listening session. So this is a great time, if you haven't been paying attention or you're wondering what's going on with the Learning Network, to shoot me an email and make sure you're on our distribution list, and I'll invite you to this listening session. So we'll be, the practice has changed a lot and evolved in the last couple of years, which is really exciting. But we want to make sure that as we're producing and synthesizing learning information, we're doing so in an informed way and really making sure we're synthesizing the information that's most important for people. And that we're gathering from the widest group of people doing these projects to inform the practice. So I'll put my email in the chat. My last plug is we are looking for steering committee members. So if you are not just excited to get involved in the network, but are interested to help and inform in steering the ship, shoot me an email and definitely indicate that you're interested in helping lead, and I will add you to that group. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Adriana. And if you have any questions for Adriana, definitely put them in the chat. And if we have some time at the end of this report out, session, we can maybe ask 1 or 2 questions of the groups. So next up, we have our Coastal Habitat and Aquatic Resource Research and Monitoring Work Group, or CHARM is the acronym, and that's led by Danielle McCullough. And Danielle, if you're here, come off mute and tell us what you're doing.
Thanks, Tom. Just want to mention that this work group is also co-hosted with National Marine Fisheries Service. Jesse Murray is the point of contact for that. And we formed this group originally to ask questions that resource managers like NIMS, like U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, like some state resource managers have on some of these more novel restoration tactics, to make sure that any of the data collection we have surrounding these projects informs resource managers' decision. It's evolved a little bit. The work group now, it still targets resource managers and regulators and make sure that we're incorporating them into the conversation and sharing knowledge with them about coastal habitat restoration work. So we're targeting 3 specific stakeholder groups. That's the folks doing restoration on the ground, folks doing living shorelines, doing marsh restoration, doing beneficial use projects, beach restoration projects, all coastal habitat restoration work. And then the folks that permit that work or manage the resources that are impacted by that work. And then the third target group are academics that we could subcontract to answer those existing resource questions. Last year was a year of listening to the resource managers and restoration practitioners. We had a bunch of listening sessions to figure out how we wanted to steer the group. And we decided that the best way to move forward was to hold a series of learning webinars, which we did throughout 2023. And those learning webinars are now posted to the NJCRC site. For 2024, we're going to move forward with some action items. The first thing that we're planning is an in-person meeting. The goal of that meeting is to finish planning for 2024, make sure we get the work group to check off on our work plan. But it's also to start these breakout sessions and listening sessions to inform a permit application guidance document, synthesizing all of the permitting hurdles that we as restoration practitioners have. Take off the lid off some of those black boxes, like why are some projects allowed, others aren't? What are the resources managers looking for in permit applications? And not just, like 50 pages of text. Very synthesized, easy to reference guide with links to the resources with more details. The other work groups are going to help and are going to participate in this in-person meeting. So we think it'll be a really great document that'll benefit all of our work. Other things that we plan to do in 2024 is to have some field trips. We might join the Beneficial Use Learning Network in having field trips to talk to resource managers and regulators on these types of projects. We're going to continue our learning webinar series. And we'd like to expand CHARM's reach, making sure that we're targeting all the different kinds of folks that are doing restoration projects and managing resources. And that's our summary.
Okay. Thank you, Danielle.
Sure.
A lot of great work going on. Important work. So next up is our Ecological Restoration and Science Work Group, which is now chaired by Meredith Comey. Josh Moody had chaired the group since its inception, actually, and we'd like to thank Josh for all his hard work. And he's passed the torch on to Meredith. So Meredith.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. I did send Laura a slide. I don't know if it's on there. It's just my notes. If it's not, I will just read from my notes. Hold on as I bring it up.
I apologize. I missed the attachment, Meredith.
That's okay. Just give me 1 second. Okay, great. So for those of you that are new, the Ecological Restoration and Science Work Group is a multi-sector work group of the CRC. Our aim is to represent all the different coastal geographies of New Jersey and also represent the different scientific expertise in New Jersey. We've come up with 4 charges that we aim to follow. The first one being connect planning and restoration activities with the best available science. The second, provide scientific review when appropriate. The third, promote a greater understanding of how to align restoration tactics with site-specific conditions. And the fourth is to advocate for scientific inquiry regarding appropriate restoration practices. So all of those come back to, making sure that, science first, as we're thinking about these projects, always advocating that it's looked at in the most scientific way. Our goals for 2024, so 2023, we got the Coastal Resilience Library, I should say Josh mostly, pretty much finished that up. So the first goal for 2024, which is almost done, is to get any of those remaining items into the resource library. And as Tom said, Josh has been our lead co-chair for the past several years. So something that we talked about at the end of 2023 and is in our work plan for 24 is to develop a leadership rotation schedule so that all work group members have an opportunity to gain leadership experience and, promote the different and diverse ideas and operations that each of us bring. So for 2024, I will be the chair, and then we'll look to rotate again in 2025. Most of our time right now has been dedicated to planning our session for the CRC and DEP conference in March. So we're very excited about how that is shaping up. And tying back to what Danielle and Adriana mentioned, we're going to help coordinate a joint meeting with CHARM and start looking at how our work plans with CHARM and the Beneficial Use Learning Network also kind of dovetail together, so we can leverage our individual efforts, while also promoting, our very specific agendas in our own work groups. Providing content for a CRC newsletter, that is something that we did focus on quite a bit in the first few years of this group. However, that's kind of on a back burner. We're happy to provide content for a general CRC newsletter, but the desire and the assistance for doing a ecological restoration and science work group dedicated newsletter just isn't there at the moment. And the last goal, which is something that we really, really want to work on and I think do a better job at, is this idea of providing scientific review and advisement and really engaging the existing partners and work group members. We have a lot of different folks that are, signed up and belong to this work group, and we would like to better engage them, whether that is, doing more robust reviews or advisement, but really engage them and look to engage, and recruit new members. And all of these goals go towards, supporting the work group agenda and recruiting new faces, hopefully. That is, I should say the other co-chairs, Martha Maxwell Doyle, Josh Moody, and Al Majeski. And that is our update. Sorry, now I have to get back to Zoom, shut my slide.
Thank you, Meredith.
You're welcome.
Okay, so our next update is from our municipal work group. This work group has just been formed over the last year and is led by Angela Anderson and Alyssa Cummings. And Angela's here to give us the update.
Hi there. I have a few slides, but I'll just read from them so that you don't have to go out and I don't have to pull in. I'll read from my notes, no problem. Thanks, everybody. Nice to see all these familiar faces and some new faces. I'm Angela Anderson, Long Beach Township Marine Field Station Manager, co-chair with Alyssa. Here we are the municipal work group. We're about a year old, I would say, give or take. On the newer side, we're, the work group is really, we really want to help municipalities overcome any kind of obstacles towards resilience, in the coastal communities. So we're multi-sector, we're really trying to grow our membership to be not just municipalities, NGOs, academics, and that kind of a thing. So we really want to just foster all the partnerships, really look at some of the regulatory inhibitions that maybe the planning at the local level, once it gets up to that level, where do we have shared experiences? Where do we have some good examples of how we can maybe navigate towards, to become more resilient as communities at the local level, really building those relationships at all that layering up to the state and down and beyond actually. We really want to see more, municipal representation on some of the stakeholder committees, DEP, DOT, and help develop some policy documents, really keeping that municipal perspective present in any regulatory changes that come along, just kind of like on the ground kind of learning. We did present and prepare our 2024 work plan. Some of the highlights from that we had outlined were expanding not only our membership, but the leadership within the work group. There's a lot of, layers to a municipal work group, and it really, we're going to really almost have like little subcommittees within a work group like this. So really, as we're growing the membership, which we're really happy, we had we just had our first meeting of 2024, really nice, diverse group. But we want to look at the leadership, it's maybe a little bit of a lift for both, just Alyssa and I, kind of doing that. So we want to create like a nice contact database. What do we mean by a coastal, community and resiliency? Like who are we missing, within the state of New Jersey that really needs to be in the conversations? Alyssa and I are both Ocean County. I'm on the southern end. She's on the northern end. We really got our area. So we have to know that we have to get a little bit of a bigger scope there and get that database built. We want to, provide consistent messaging out there. On a consistent basis, like what kind of messaging do we need to get and give, for municipal, success. The conference we're really excited about. We came up with a nice roundtable idea with some focal questions, and then on our last meeting, we sort of melded together with the technical assistance work group. So I think we were accepted. I don't even know for the our abstract. So we're excited to do that combination of a panel and some breakout sessions along with Amanda's group. She'll talk about her work group after me. So that'll be exciting. It's really sort of our first taste to be able to bring to life, like real flesh human life, these types of things we've been talking about at the municipal level, and really lay them out, have good discussion. I think Becky maybe she's on the call, I think this will help us in the facilitation there. So really getting everybody together to have a nice, honest conversation. Like, Meredith said, we will contribute to the newsletter and really get that consistent messaging out there. But again, you need more hands on deck and some more bodies in there. So we did meet with DEP in 2023. We kind of went over, we had, set up, just to talk about maybe some things that we see right out of the gate that maybe we could start to develop conversations with them on. I think it was in October 2023. I can't remember right around then, Laura. But really just like talking about resilience, permitting simplification, regional permitting, clarification, some public access issues that maybe come into play when we're talking about resilience, and how those real-time things, impact us, and how we could maybe streamline some things going from concept, up to permitting. And again, reiterating that municipal representation at stakeholder meetings, and really looking for that interdepartmental and interdivisional, review processes. If I'm dealing in, as a municipality, we've got coastal engineering, we've got land use, there's so many different divisions within the department that you're dealing with at the municipal level. And so where does those conversations happen at the state level? So really just hoping to have these good, give some live case scenarios so that we can all achieve the resilience that we're trying to do, on the local level. We'll plan another meeting in 2024 following up with that. And we have some additional topics that we had outlined, but we didn't want to sort of overwhelm like this first meeting, but it's that first step in the relationship building, which is what we're doing, on all levels here. So we are happy to celebrate our 1 year and look forward to really productive 2024.
Thank you, Angela. And So maybe this is a good time to mention to everybody that if you have an interest in working with any of these work groups, you're welcome to reach out to Laura or I or the co-chairs of the work groups, and I'm sure they'll engage you in their work. So like Angela said, it takes a lot of people to make this happen, and the more hands lightens the work. So if you have an interest, please reach out. Also, Angela, I'll confirm for Terry that yes, your session was accepted to the conference. Okay. Next up, we have our last work group, not the least, one of our most important work groups, our Technical Assistance Coffee Chat work group, led by Amanda Archer. And Amanda, you can come off mute and give us a brief.
Thank you, Tom. As Tom said, I am the work group lead for the Technical Assistance Coffee Chat work group. Also, my co-lead is Joseph Sakawi from the Waterfront Alliance. My name is Amanda Archer. I'm the Coastal Training Program Coordinator at the Jacques Cousteau National Estuarine Research Reserve. And spearheading this effort, the Technical Assistance Coffee Chat work group is a subgroup of the NJCRC, and we really focus on providing technical assistance that can help increase capacity for resilience planning and implementation through information sharing, collaboration, and networking opportunities. So our work group really we offer a creative space to be able to connect to local stakeholders and create usable assistance. And the work that's being done in this group can also lead to improved community capacity to address the evolving requirements for coastal resilience planning. So to put in a plug for our upcoming coffee chat, one example of what we do is, I will put the little flyer in the chat. On January 23rd, next Tuesday at 10 a.m., we are hosting a technical assistance coffee chat on a model climate vulnerability assessment for municipalities. So we'll have speakers from New Jersey Future, Sustainable New Jersey, and New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection that will talk about a vulnerability assessment guide that they had put together. So this new comprehensive guide will be explained in more detail during the coffee chat, and we'll have some resources for you if you're interested in participating. But this is one example of what we do in the Technical Assistance Coffee Chat work group. Let me also put the registration link in the chat. Okay. So if you're interested in joining us, we have over 100 registrants as of now. Another announcement that I want to make for the Technical Assistance work group is in the previous email you received from Laura, we were talking about updating the Technical Assistance Directory. So if you take a look at the NJCRC website, we have a Technical Assistance Directory up there, and you can search it based on categories of what you are looking for technical assistance, and we have a list of contacts and resources up there. So with the new website of the NJCRC, we're looking to update the Technical Assistance Directory. This is long overdue. I have about 20 updates already, either new submissions or updated contacts for the Technical Assistance Directory. So if you have submitted an update, we have it, and we're going to update it with the new submission. If you are looking to update your contact, take a look at the website, see if you need an update to your contact, or if you want to add additional resources or any information, and we will include that in the final push for the new website. Also, if you're not listed and you would like to be, there is a survey that I will put in the chat. And if you could just fill out this survey. Thank you, Tom. Then we can get your new submission onto the website. So that is what we're looking to do. And then also Angela had mentioned that we are having a session with the municipal work group at the conference. So if you'd like to participate in that, or if you'd like to help plan it, my contact info I'll throw in the chat, and we'll have more information at the conference.
Thank you, Amanda. And just a little note on the Technical Assistance Directory for those that may be new to the partnership, partners of NJCRC. that was an opportunity to have all our members be recognized, provide their information so people could find them if they needed a specific area of expertise in planning, design, policy, or permitting. So if you're not there and you want to be in the technical assistance directory, please reach out to Amanda. So, okay. So next up, we have Carl Villacova, who's leading our communications and outreach work for the collaborative. And he's going to give us an update on a couple of communications activities that are ongoing. Carl?
Thanks, Tom. No surprise, a lot of the work lately has been geared toward getting things prepared and promotions for the upcoming conference, including we do have a web page up now for the conference, and let me put that in the chat. So that page will sort of serve as the hub for the conference going forward. We right now have some basic information that we could put out for the moment, but as we develop the agenda, speaker bios, anything else that we want to get out there, this will be the place to be. Right now there you can see that there is a registration button, which takes you to a forum that is live. We've got about 60 or so registrants already, even though we haven't really put it out there. As Laura mentioned, we're first trying to get some initial people signed up before we really push it out to the general public. And when we're ready to do that, when we feel we do have critical mass, I have an email blast all ready to go to our full list and really get that going. For those who need the help, there is some instruction on that page about if you need to pay through another means than using a credit card, if you need us to go through the invoicing and get that to you, there's an email on there for Aliyah Satku here at Monmouth University who can help you with that. We will be adding soon a room block that we got at the local Sheraton. Don't expect that necessarily we'll need a whole lot of that since it's in state, but it will be there for those who need it. And as Terry mentioned at the top of the call, we have the Hoover app signed for, and we'll be getting some instruction on that pretty soon about how to fill that out and get all of the relevant information on it. But that will make us primarily paperless for this conference, which we're excited about, and give us a pretty cool and interactive way to keep people informed about all of the sessions and schedule and related events to the conference. So that's what I've got.
Thanks, Carl. Appreciate that. I will just mention that Carl did link the registration in the conference page. So if you could hold off on registering until we send that email blast out. We just want to make sure that the presenters have an opportunity to register so we know the full number of people we have that we can have register after that. So anyway, thank you, Carl. That was great. Like I said, the conference is the big focus right now. And we're really excited to be able to showcase this and have all our partners join us at Monmouth University. Next up, we have one of the things we've been doing over the last couple of years to build awareness about the New Jersey Coastal Resilience Collaborative is joining our partners at various meetings. The New Jersey Floodplain Association of Floodplain Managers has been very nice to offer us an exhibiting table each of the last 2 years, and we've been able to go there, as well as the League of Municipalities 2 years ago, just to get people aware of the network and the collaborative and what we're doing. And if they're interested, ask them to attend a meeting like this and maybe join our work. So Jun Cheng from Keene University is one of our co-facilitators who was at the conference this year exhibiting, and he's going to give us a brief update on what we were talking about there and the people that came to visit us.
Thanks, Tom. First of all, thanks to NJFM, that's the New Jersey Association for Floodplain Management, annual meeting in October 2023 at Atlantic City, for providing our NJCRC the opportunity to have exhibition tables and a large number of conference attendees from local municipalities and industrial engineering companies on flood prevention provide really a perfect platform to promote NJCRC, as our exhibition attract many conference attendees, and several following up inquiries and a couple of new applicants were accepted to our NJCRC afterwards. Actually, we saw some new face that's actually coming from the meeting. Our table together with DEP during the Crack Barrel is also very well received. We got the opportunity to approach several rounds of visitors to our table, and we were able to elaborate on the mission and the vision of NJCRC, as well as ongoing collaborations. The NJFM really provides a venue for NJCRC to be known by more people and organizations. We are very thankful for NJFM, and also thankful for those who are interested in interacting with us during the meeting and eventually join us as a member of NJCRC. Yeah, that's why I need to report. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Jin, for that update. So let's see, a little bit over on time. So like I said, if you have any questions you'd like to ask the chairs or co-chairs of any of our work groups, please feel free to put a question in the chat or reach out to them by email. If you want to get involved, please join one of these work groups. It's a great way to get associated with the work of the collaborative. We really value your contributions. So up next, we have a quick discussion about proposals and future funding opportunities. There's a pretty big one available right now that we're working with the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection on, and that's a regional coastal resilience funding opportunity through NOAA. And Becky Hill from the DEP is one of the leads of this effort, and she's been gracious enough to come here today and talk a little bit about what the proposal is and what we hope to achieve in partnership with them through this work. So Becky, if you're come off mute.
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Everyone, so I'll try to keep it brief since I know we're over time. But overall, the intent of this proposal is to build a climate-ready New Jersey through resilience design and implementation. So the letters around that are like RDI. So we're going with Ready NJ as the overall, I guess, slogan or our name of the proposal. And the idea is that it builds off of all the incredible amount of work that has been done around climate resilience in New Jersey. So NJ Adapt, the K through 12 learning standards, the Environmental Justice Act, programs that promote regional planning like Resilient NJ, and then through partners like the CRC and all of your individual organizations, will continue to build that vision and inform and hopefully make communities more resilient by creating a resilient state. So resilient communities equal a resilient state, as we all know. That's the CRC's main intent. So the work has been done or is being done to prepare and plan and help communities prioritize their resilience efforts, but there really has been a little bit of a gap in providing those resources to allow them to move from plans into implementation. So this project would establish a process to do just that. It would move communities already doing resilience planning towards implementation for resilience projects, provide dedicated resources to work with underserved communities, to help co-design projects and plans, and then bring more communities into that resilience cycle, either through planning, design, or implementation of projects. The work will focus on the 16 coastal counties in the state, and it revolves around 4 main focus areas. So there's resilience planning. This will include updates to tools and resources like the seat at the table guidance that's available through Rutgers and DEP, NJ Adapt, the DEP's local climate resilience toolkit, and sustainable Jersey actions. There are several new regional planning projects that would kick off. This is just high level overview. I'm not touching in all the aspects. But another aspect is the design pipeline. So once we have projects identified, how do you get them designed? So there would be some evolution around the coastal ecological restoration and adaptation planning tool. developing restoration design options through Sea Grant, our universities, and various consultant options. Then there would be some construction projects around. So let's see, we actually have several construction projects that would be implemented in this 5-year period. So there is an effort in the Sawmill WMA area, Little Ferry Park in the Northeast, and then several urban stormwater green infrastructure projects. And the last main component is building education, climate awareness, training, and education. We really like our acronyms. So that's NJ Educate. And we would bring this, this would kind of lace and like finger through all of the tasks of the proposal. So there would be outreach around planning projects, design projects, CRAP, there are some training and entrepreneurship opportunities around green infrastructure. We would use My Coast to get the word out, help get communities involved in documenting what's going on along the coast, some work around the K through 12 curriculum, and then enhancing programs of JCNAIR and our National Estuary Program. So the Partnership for the Delaware Estuary, the Barnegat Bay Partnership, and then the New York, New Jersey Harbor and Estuary Program. And again, something else that's really fundamental across all of the proposal is ensuring that we are coordinating and considering the needs of our most vulnerable and overburdened and underrepresented communities. So that's something that's going to be a priority in all of the tasks.
Thank you, Becky. And I just want to highlight the involvement of the Coastal Resilience Collaborative. As many of you know, Laura and I are both extension specialists with New Jersey Sea Grant. We have received funding through the Coastal Zone Management Program to help facilitate the ongoing work of the collaborative. And in this role, at least in the proposal, what we're doing is helping with the design pipeline aspects of the work that Becky mentioned. We have identified many projects already that we would love to see constructed and implemented. But as Becky mentioned, there's a lot of challenges with getting those projects through the design process and to really be funded for implementation. And so to help streamline that process, we're looking to build some capacity within Sea Grant to support the NJCRC in an effort to create this design process. And that would bring on a coordinator that would kind of oversee the connection between municipalities and experts within our network and others in the site assessment and design of projects that can be put into a pipeline. Include an extension specialist to help develop some of the guidance documents for those types of projects, as well as develop training and training materials and credentialing for practitioners. So we're trying to create a real community of practice around designing adaptation projects for resilience. And then lastly, working with Stevens to provide some more of that technical engineering support that some communities need, and Rick Lathrop at Rutgers University to kind of create a one-stop dashboard, if you want to think about it, which is based on, I think many of you know, the CRAP program. But that would be able to accept these projects and keep track of them from identification through permitting and help make sure that we move these projects along into implementation. So it's really exciting for us because it adds capacity to what we're doing to support everyone in the collaborative. And so we're really happy to have this opportunity. I'm really thankful that DEP reached out to us through Becky and Nick Angeron. And we'll let you know where it goes. If the deadline's in a month for the proposal, and then we'll probably have to wait quite a while before we hear from NOAA. But I guess, again, we're kind of getting behind schedule. If anybody has a question about the proposal or any of the details, please put them in the chat. We'll respond to them. But in the, being conscious of our time together, we'll move on to the next topic. So a few next steps, where are we going in the next couple of months here at the CRC? First one, I think we've talked about it for a couple of years now, but the DEP through the NJ PAC program is updating the coastal the land use management rules to be better adapted to account for climate change impacts in the future, And that process is through what they're calling resilient environments and landscapes, which the acronym is REAL. And this is an important update to the land use regulations that will impact a lot of what all of our partners do, be you a municipality or a consultant or a practitioner. And we feel that we should be ready to comment on those proposed rules when they do come out. We do expect them out. We thought they'd be out already, actually, but within the next quarter, that these rules should be released by the DEP for public comment. So we were getting together a new work group. The work group, we've already had a few volunteers we're very thankful for. Tony McDonald and Liz Simple have agreed to co-lead the work group, along with Elizabeth Cummings and Martha Maxwell Doyle as members. If you would like, anybody on this meeting or anybody in the collaborative would like to actually work on this with them, please reach out to myself. My email's right there, and we'll make sure you're a member of the work group. We've done this once before. For those of you that are long-term partners of the collaborative, when the Coastal Resilience Climate Change Resilience Strategy and Coastal Resilience Plan was released for public comment, we did get a group of partners together to make comments. Many of them were integrated into the final document. So please note the opportunity here to have your voice heard and your comments considered. Yeah, Tony?
Yes, please. We need help. But I also just want to emphasize as well that, again, our process is really to use the collective expertise of this organization to put information into their considerations that's relevant. We work on a consensus basis. So we're not taking a specific advocacy point of view. So it really is informational around really making sure that the right or the shared information and the common knowledge that we might develop out of this group gets put into their process for their consideration. So again, we will be after you to get your support, but really recognize that this really is intended to be constructive information based on kind of consensus of what the CRC can offer in response to the proposal.
Thanks, Tony. Ed? You're on mute, Ed.
I was trying to be a good listener, Tom. Ed Mahoney from Cape May. Could you add me to that work group?
Yes, absolutely. We'll add you.
Okay, I'd appreciate that.
All right. Thank you for volunteering. Like, if anybody wants to be added, you can put your name in the chat. Just let us know or reach out to me by email. Thank you. And next topic we have here is leadership reorganization and updates to our operating procedures. Again, the collaborative operates on a collective impact model, which means it's a consensus organization. Just like Tony mentioned, we work to consensus. We don't promote or push materials that are objectionable to any of our partners. So we always have a common goal and vision in mind. We have grown. Tony mentioned it at the beginning. We started with less than 30 partners, maybe 5 years ago, and we're way over 100 partners now. And so we had asked BRS Inc. to take a look at the structure of the CRC last year and provide some recommendations that would reframe the organization in a more traditional, either cooperative or NGO or some other type of body that is more productive in terms of its workflow. And based on those recommendations, we have now created a work group to look at that report, look at the CRC's framework right now, and make recommendations that would move us to a structure more traditional of nonprofits, with a board and maybe an executive board leadership or some other type of structure that kind of aligns us more with 5013Cs. And so that work group is diligently working. They presented to the leadership committee at the last meeting and got the approval to move forward with some recommendations that we expect by our next full partnership meeting in June or July of this year. And we'll keep you up to date as we move forward. But we do think it's important that as we grow, we are positioned to become a more efficient and effective body. And that's really the goal here as we move forward. If you have any questions about that or would like to be involved in that process, again, please reach out to myself or Laura, and we'll make sure you're engaged. And then finally, since we've asked our work groups to create annual work plans, we thought it was only fair that the organization also have a work plan. But we're looking at a biannual work plan so that we really get some great ideas on paper and then work towards those goals over a 2-year period. And so Laura and I will be working with leadership over the next 6 months to create that biannual work plan for all of our partners to review by the next meeting in June, July timeframe. And if you have ideas for topics that should be included in that work plan, please submit them. Actually, what we'll do, Laura and I have discussed creating a web-based, what's the word I'm looking for, Laura? Basically a way for you to upload your ideas so that we have them all in one place and we can make sure that we include them in our discussions. So again, this is an opportunity for any partner to think about what you feel is important for the group to work towards, and we'll certainly consider those ideas in our biannual work plan. Okay, so we are again behind schedule. I apologize, but so if you have any questions about any of those next step initiatives, please reach out to myself or Laura, and we will answer your questions. Now, one of the more important and most important parts of our meeting is to hear from people outside of the organization that are doing work that is really important to the state of New Jersey and its resilience. We're very lucky to have Donna Rendiro here with us, the Executive Director of the State Planning Commission Office of Planning Advocacy, to talk about what we're doing, what the state's doing in terms of updating the development and redevelopment plan and what it may mean for our coastal municipalities. So Don, I'm very happy to have you here, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tom. So I do realize we are behind schedule. I do have a couple of slides that if you'd like, I can run through quickly, or I can just speak. Let's see if I can. Here we go. I think this is it. So I will be very conscious of the time. I can talk fast to leave more time for questions and answers. So many of you on this call have heard this presentation before, or at least some variation on it. But for those of you that have not heard of it, the State Planning Act requires that the state create a state development and redevelopment plan. And it's designed to be a balance between conservation objectives as well as economic development opportunities and infrastructure needs. So we are required, that it's different from our state agency partners. So DEP has got their primary responsibility, rightfully so, to protect the environment. EDA's, rightfully so, first priority is to make sure that there are economic development opportunities, and so on and so forth. Our job at the State Planning Commission is to balance all of those needs and to see how we can do it all, which sometimes we all understand that sometimes these goals are a little bit conflicting. So we try to develop a plan. The last one that we had, many of you are aware, is from 2001, and so many things have changed since then. So we are in the process of updating the plan. We do have a very aggressive timeline. So I'll just run through this a little bit quickly, and then we can open it up for questions. We could talk about what this means for the coastal communities. But the plan is not regulatory. That's really, really important. We have to deal mostly with carrots and not sticks. And we do that through various different state agency programs, incentives, and how they can encourage growth where it belongs and discourage growth where it doesn't belong. But it's important to note that we are not regulatory. The goals of the 2001 plan are right here. If you'll see here that there is Revitalizing states, cities and towns. It's providing environmental protection and cleanup, providing beneficial economic growth, natural resources. So you can see that there are a variety of different goals here. Adequate housing is really important. Enhance historic, cultural, scenic values, and integrate our planning. So those were the goals in 2001. Now those goals are kind of like motherhood and apple pie. Those are kind of what we should be doing, regardless whether it's 50 years ago, 50 years from now, or today. But while the goals are important, and the state plan did talk a little bit about climate change and equity, it didn't talk about it to the level that we need to talk to it today. So what we're proposing in 2024 plan, and you could see the highlighted, bolded items, are the pieces that are new and a little bit differently. Obviously, we need to address equity. So that's a big new goal. We need to address very, very seriously and way more than we did in the past, the impact of climate change. And those are the two main additions, but we did change some of the other goals a little bit, and these are still in draft form. I do have comments from DEP that are not incorporated here yet because we're going through them now, but we wanted to include, for example, a stewardship piece. We did not have that in there. That's great that we're conserving a lot of land, but what do we do with it once we conserve it? We want to also expand, not only talking about affordable housing, but what does that mean? We want to make sure people can age in place. We want to make sure that it's in location efficient places. Let's not put affordable housing in flood prone areas, for example. How do we make sure there is enough support from a social perspective? Do we want to make sure that affordable housing can be put near public transportation? Do we want to make sure there's a good nexus between land use decisions and transportation and public transportation? And how do we address those pieces? So it's a lot of different land use goals. And so we are in the process of updating that. At the end, we're going to have 4 documents. We're going to have a plan document itself that has the words associated with it. We're going to have an infrastructure needs assessment, an impact assessment, and a state plan policy map. And we'll talk a little bit about that protocol going forward. Stakeholder engagement is critical. Through the rules, we're required to hold 27 public hearings. 21 of them have to be held in 45 days, one in each county. So you'll be hearing more about that. And then we also thought that it's too late to wait until the preliminary plan is out, because that's when those public hearings is a response to what that preliminary plan looks like. So we spent the last 6 months reaching out to anybody who will hear us talk. We've done webinars, we've done a number of things. We've had sessions at the league. I've spoken to a number of different stakeholder groups. We've probably reached over 1,100 people, and we've taken their input. We are not closing out a formal public comment period. We're going to leave that open until we do a final draft plan, which is not anticipated until the fall. Just a word on the infrastructure needs assessment. It's supposed to identify how much it's going to cost for not only our present need, but prospective needs based on population projections for a number of different items. And you can see the segments that we have here. Phase 1, we're doing environment, energy, and transportation. And phase 2 has a whole lot of other pieces there. The trick here is going to be, there is not enough money on the planet to cover how much we're going to need for energy and environment alone, let alone transportation and all those other pieces. So how do we balance? Is it a priority action, or how do we do that? And that's what we're going through now. The impact assessment basically is going to say, well, what happens if the state plan doesn't exist? The state plan identifies areas for growth and areas of conservation. And while we haven't done that analysis yet, we do know it's not perfect. We do know, though, that most of the building permits are put in places where the state plan encourages growth, and most of the conservation efforts are put where the state plan encourages conservation. But we can do a better job of what we've done so far. So that's one of the things we're going to talk about. State plan policy map. Everybody has seen, many people have seen this. Funny part of it is we have a map from 1934 that looks almost exactly the same. So 100 years ago, that red area is the urbanized areas. In our map from 1934, you see that same, I call it the state plan sash because it goes across from Newark down to Camden. And you see the green areas in the highlands and the pinelands and the coastal areas. So in 100 years, there hasn't been a whole lot of change. There's been some tweaks. There certainly has been development where there shouldn't be development, but by and large, this is pretty much where the map goes. This, frankly, is the most controversial part of the update because it identifies where the state plan is recommending growth. And that methodology is going to change here. And this is where the coastal communities will see the biggest impact, likely. We're in the process of determining those protocols, and those protocols we think may be sort of like a transect. Here is the most suitable areas for development. Here is the least suitable area for development, and have that transect. And hopefully our state agency partners can align their incentives and their funding towards the side where it's most where growth is mostly encouraged. And that's going to be redevelopment areas. That's going to be abandoned office parks. That's going to be places that already have infrastructure, that is not in floodplains, that doesn't have other environmental features, but we're working through that and what those factors should look like now. Hopefully we will have something by probably mid-February on that. Just really quick on the timeline, we just talked to a whole lot of people. We have engaged the New Jersey chapter of APA for community outreach and writing the document. We've engaged New Jersey Future to develop the population trends and other demographics. We've created an interagency work group with all of our state agency partners because in the end, they're the ones that are going to have to implement this plan. And they need to be part of the planning. And so we've done that. Rutgers Voorhees Transportation Center is doing the infrastructure needs assessment. We got a whole lot of software, and the technology we have today is just makes this very aggressive timeline probably almost doable. And so hopefully we could stick to the timeline. First half of 2024, we're going to publish the preliminary plan. If all the planets align by April, we will have our 21 public hearings. We have to have a cross-acceptance process that basically is to achieve the highest level of consensus at all levels of government on where to grow and where not to grow. We negotiate our disagreements. We get our state agency reports, and we begin phase 2 of the INA and begin the impact assessment. In the second half of 2024, we're looking to consolidate into one report. The INA, we will incorporate the results of cross acceptance into the final draft. We have to have 6 more public hearings and hopefully adopt by the end of the year. Now, that's a lot of work, but we do have some implementation challenges because a plan is only as good as its implementation. Again, this is a voluntary, non-regulatory thing. And somebody once said to me, "Oh, you're doing a state plan in a home rule state." That's going to be a challenge. So that's what we have. But we also have a lot of education. Here are just some statistics about family size, for example. Why are we so afraid of children? We should be able to grow in areas that are eligible for growth in a more dense way. We should not be afraid of school children. School children are our future. That's what makes us so vibrant. And why should we be afraid of school children? That's just one example of how we want to bring the discussion on land use discussions up to a more recent level based on what we have today. There are a number of ways you can comment on the plan. If you look at this website, www.publicinput.com/NJ-State-Plan. There's a lot of information there. There are 2 email addresses that you can leave comments for us. If you don't like leaving comments that way, then you can leave a voicemail at that number. And we are working very closely with county planners. A lot of things we want to look at is regional planning, whether it's from a watershed perspective or a county perspective or a corridor perspective. We believe that's really important, particularly for things like resilience, that it can't be done on a municipal level only. You have to understand what your actions are going to be doing to your neighbors downstream, upstream, how it goes, because that to us makes a huge difference. There are a number of implementation questions that we have to answer primarily through our infrastructure needs assessment, but we have some challenges. So we have to work with our state agency partners that are regulatory. And we sometimes have competing statutory requirements. I have to balance economic development and climate change. However, DEP doesn't, and they have sometimes their statutory mandates are conflicting to mine. So we have to work through those challenges. We also have a different approach. As a regulatory agency, they need to get very specific. They have to comply with many of their regulations that require parcel by parcel views. We should not be looking at it parcel by parcel. We should be looking at it overall. But I'm repeating here the 8 goals because it's important for a community to look at it holistically, but how do we reconcile that with the regulatory approach that is the reality of how we work? There are different planning areas on that map. Planning areas 1 and 2 are where generally growth is encouraged. Planning areas 4 and 5 are areas where generally it's discouraged. But the thing we have to remember here is that it's not exclusive to its planning area. So for example, there needs to be green space in urban areas. There needs to be economic growth in some rural areas. So how do we balance it? Where do we put it? How do we right size it? Which is the challenges that we have for going for today. And I'm not going to be not going to be looking for answers now, but some of the questions, and I can send you these questions and you can think about it and respond separately. But a lot of the answers are going to be in some of these questions. How are we going to look at future settlement patterns? How do we integrate green infrastructures and nature-based solutions into investments in the community? Should we look at non-traditional approaches? Should we prioritize benefits that benefit overburdened and disadvantaged communities? And how do we do that best to make it equal? What are we going to need beyond 2030? Right now, we're in a little bit of flux because most of us are working at home some of the week and working in the office. Is that pattern going to change? Are we going to go back to more 5 days a week? How does that impact commuting patterns and the like? So how do we plan for that? How do we address conflicts between clean energy development and property rights? How does that work? Or how do we think that's going to work going forward? The time horizon for this plan is 2050. What are we going to look like in 2050? How is the infrastructure investment? How should we frame that infrastructure investment? How do we balance green infrastructure versus hard infrastructure? How do we transition into EVs? Right now, the state goal is 100% clean energy by 2035. That's really a challenge. I doubt that we're going to be able to get there without a boatload of money that doesn't really exist right now. How do we look at VMT? So there's a million different questions that we're battling right now, but in answer to the question that I was asked to address is how does this impact the coastal communities? Obviously, riverine flooding, inland flooding is also a bigger issue, but it goes back to that balance. Obviously, the center base and where development is going to occur on the coast is going to shrink. Municipalities don't want to hear that, but that's the reality. We do not want to put people in harm's way, and I get that, and that's fine. But we also have a $40 billion tourism industry that defines this state, most of which is the coast. So how do we not decimate that, continue to keep people out of harm's way, and continue to support the communities that are there without putting investments into places that we know are going to be underwater and without putting people in harm's way? That's the challenge that we have. It is clearly going to impact the coastal communities in way more than it might on an inland community. You can talk about managed retreat, but we don't know if we have enough vacant and developable and suitable for development land to take all of these folks in. How do we do that, and what is it we do? Is it targeted retreat? I don't think we could do managed retreat. I don't think there's a political will to do a managed retreat. But what is the coast? How are we defining the coast going from now into 2050? What does it look like? How do we make sure we support the activities, the jobs that are there now, the people that are there now, but yet keep them out of harm's way? That's a really big challenge. So I'll open that up. Obviously, we don't have a lot of time right now. I'm willing to hear thoughts. I'm willing, you could send me emails and let us know what you think. But yes, it's going to impact coastal communities. And frankly, the communities, the municipal levels are not going to like how it's going to impact them. But we need to figure out how to make that message and that education as to why that's important. So that's all I have.
Great. Thank you, Donna, for what an amazing presentation, and appreciate your time. I know you're a very busy person. Maybe we can offer an opportunity to ask one or two quick questions if anybody has them. Or if you want to put a question in the chat that we could answer later. And Donna, if you don't mind sharing your slides, we can make sure that everybody
Well, I'll get them out to you.
copy and offer that they can reach out to you with any questions or comments.
We'll send them to Laura right now.
Okay.
Great.
All
Thanks,
right.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, not seeing any questions right away. I guess, Laura, do you want to move to partner updates?
I sure will. We recognize that we are running a little bit late and that we probably need to start scheduling a longer period of time for these meetings because there's so much information to get through. But for today, I'm just gonna jump ahead a little bit and just say our next steps that we're gonna ask of you are one, to stay if you can for our partner updates, because we do think that's important. Two, join a work group, participate in a work group if you are interested in any of the ones that you heard about today or the new ones that are forming. Three, I'm going to ask you to remember to register promptly when you get the official registration link for the conference. We hope to see you there. And four, look for email and probably other ways that we'll send out ways of soliciting your input for our biannual work plan. Definitely something we'll be coming out to you looking to collect your thoughts. And from that, I'm going to ask you again to stay as long as you possibly can. We want to share the updates from our partners. And first up is Becky Hill from NJDEP.
So one quick update, the flood risk notification website is now live on the DEP site. When I'm done, I'll put the link in the chat. So the site provides information on the flood disclosure law itself. There's a map that can assist people in providing the disclosures that are required by the law. And then there are links to the disclosure forms for landlords and real estate transactions. The important thing to note here is the forms were posted in late December, which started the 90-day clock on when the law actually goes into effect. So March 20th is when sellers and landlords will need to begin notifying prospective buyers and renters about the property's flood risk.
All right. Thanks so much, Becky. John has, in the interest of time, decided he won't talk. Sometimes he's a little long-winded. So we're going to skip over and we're going to go to Isabel Sinnett from the Hudson River Foundation, and we will give you an update on Stevens at the next full partnership meeting.
Hi, everyone. Just going to give you a tiny bit of an update. Can I share my screen real quick, Laura?
Yes.
I think most of you have probably heard about my project we call Aquatic Connectivity Through Climate Ready Infrastructure. Can you see this little map? Yeah, okay. So this is a project that we are working on looking at bridges and culverts in coastal New Jersey. And we're looking both for how well these structures are able to pass fish and fish habitat issues. Then at the same time, we can look at these structures for their flooding issues and their contribution to coastal flooding, and if they're right-sized or undersized, and use both of these metrics to try to evaluate this infrastructure and try to upgrade some of this, aging infrastructure in the coastal area. So a couple updates to this project. We have this map shows you all the areas that we have data for, and we've been working. All those numbers are the numbers of assessed bridges and culverts. So we've done over 600 in coastal New Jersey, and we have all of that data ready for anybody in those areas who wants to try to use them for prioritization of upgrading this infrastructure. We have a new monitoring project on the Raritan Bay Shore, so expect a lot more data coming from Middlesex and Monmouth counties. And we also have a new toolkit that we built with Princeton Hydro, which really takes this prioritization and this data and puts it in a real world context so that municipalities can look at this and be like, it's not just pie in the sky. It's like, oh, let's look at these structures for red flags and for any kind of, utilities issues and wetlands issues. And it's a lot more helpful in kind of decision making. So, and I have funding to support all of this usage. So if you are working in this area and are interested in looking at streams and riverine flooding, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll post my website in the chat. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Isabel. Great work from HRF always. I'm going to ask Chris Schmidt from GZA to come off mute and introduce him as I share my screen again.
Hey guys, hey, Chris Schmidt, GZA, Geo Environmental. Hey, I guess the update's me. I'm new. I have my heart professionally and personally into this. Becky and Donna, I'm going to jump in with 2 feet. I'm on the municipal working group, and my wife and my 2 grown kids have inspired me. I want to get into this. My job, new to GZA, is sustainable communities, and my specialty is education, outreach, engagement. So I'm here. That's all I'm going to say for right now. We got run out of time. Nice to see y'all.
Thanks so much, Chris. And I think Chris is going to be at the conference as well. So just shout outs, lots of you, our partners will be presenting. Next up is Rich Kenny from Portadam, and I have his slide sharing up on the screen.
Hello, everybody. I just wanted to let you know that our best-in-class flood defender flood mitigation barriers were certified up to 72 inches high by FM approvals just recently. And for those who aren't familiar with FM approval, it is the gold standard in certification for flood mitigation products. It was created by FM Global, one of the largest insurers in the world. Any entities using our barriers can seek a mitigation discount from their insurer. And as always, our barriers are made right here in the state of New Jersey. So if anybody needs a flood mitigation barrier, please do let me know.
Thanks so much, Rich. Appreciate it. We're going to move on to Barnegat Bay Partnership. I'm not sure if Stan Hales or Andrew McGowan is going to give the update or tag team. Or maybe they had to leave. These are their slides passing through. Next up,
Andrew, I see Andrew talking, but we just can't hear him.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll go back to the slides. If he can get his sound sorted. I don't see him on my screen. So, all right, I'm going to hop forward to June, and then we can come back, Andrew, if you get it working. June, do you want to give your quick update?
Oh yeah, thank you. Our Department of Environmental and Sustainability Science at King are forming a team to outreach to 2 local communities for coastal sustainability. And one location is here, maybe you can see that's as a Keyport, which is facing Raritan Bay. And what we did, so we have done like a beach survey, and we'll build up the numerical model to assess how the wave and elevated sea level is going to impact the coastal vulnerability. And we also have my colleague, Dr. Shuting Liu, working on the water quality and algae bacterial interaction as a key port coastal water. And also our department chair, Dr. Daniela Shipitz, is leading a team for students working on the restoration plan for Keyport coastal vegetation. And we will host a coastal resilience workshop at Keyport Environmental Commission and in early July this year. And another location is at Elizabeth. It's Jones Cove, Elizabeth. And what we have been done is, and for me, my student and I working on some shoreline data collection, and also it will be merged with time series satellite image to access the shoreline retreat by boat and the storm-induced wave. You know that Jones Cove is located right next to the Newark Harbor. There's a lot of big boat coming in and out. And we also have my colleague, Dr. Gaudia Shokri, and she's working on the social justice assessment of Elizabeth in New Jersey. So we are forming a good team to tackle various issues and outreach to 2 communities. And we are looking forward to host these 2 workshops and to better serve our coastal communities. Thank you. That's all I have. Yeah.
Thanks so much, June. I think I'm just going to give him a shout out. His title for New Jersey Sea Grant is Urban Coastal Resilience Specialist. So he's kind of got that urban spot going on for us at Sea Grant. I'm going to go back. I think Andrew's ready to go.
Great. Can you hear me this time?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So Barnegat Bay is continuing our shoreline monitoring at a number of different sites in the southern watershed. Next slide, please. And we have 2 major projects that are kicking off. Our Nellie Bennett Marsh is a 23-acre marsh up in Point Pleasant. We currently have NIFWIF funding to complete concept designs for shoreline restoration and marsh enhancement, likely through sediment addition. Phase 2 is also funded, though the funder has not made the announcement yet. So I'm not at liberty to say who it is, but we're starting that in the spring of 2024, and that's design and permitting on that project, and then the shoreline implementation itself. And we're currently looking for funding for phase 3, which would be the sediment additions. And if anyone's interested, our first stakeholder and advisory committee meeting is coming up in February, and the contact below there for Kelly Pestalozzi. Next slide, please. Yep. And then lastly, we just have a living shoreline project at the mouth of the Toms River with John Miller, actually, who's on the call. So he'll be doing the concept designs here. And this project hopefully kicks off sometime in the late winter, early spring. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Andrew. And apologies rushing everybody through. We just want to make sure everybody gets, and I messed up a couple people's slide, dropping it on top of the Porter Dam template, it looks like. So I apologize for that as well. Tanya Rohrbach from New Jersey Future, which we've heard a little bit about this already because it's going to be highlighted in our coffee chat, but it's all yours, Tanya.
Thanks, Laura. Yeah, so this is the subject of the coffee chat next week. So in case you can't make it, just wanted to introduce and share with you that New Jersey Future, Sustainable Jersey have just released this new guide to local climate adaptation planning. It's really focused on doing comprehensive planning to correspond with the new requirements of the municipal land use law and meeting all the provisions in that law. We did this in collaboration with DEP and through broad stakeholder engagement and collaboration. So there's a lot of great information in here. Really is a step-by-step process and model for working through a climate hazard vulnerability assessment. The guide content has a lot of great information and gives you the broad steps, but then we have a lot of worksheets linked into it, which gives you really the nitty gritty, step-by-step, how does a municipality do this, but also practitioners. So the audience is for the planners and the engineers and the folks really sort of doing this. And it's gonna help folks work through the long-term thinking around adaptation and resilience and planning for that, but also the shorter term projects and immediate needs as well. So this is going to be the topic of the coffee chat next week, but otherwise if you have any questions you can reach out to me directly.
Thank you so much, Tanya. Apologies, you were not left for last for being the least important, that's for sure. It's great work that you guys did. And I did just drop in the chat if anybody had any last minute updates, but I don't see anybody raising their hands. So I think on that note, we are going to say thank you so much for all of you that hung around to the bitter end and spilled over into the next half hour. We greatly appreciate your time. We are so excited about where the NJCRC is headed and all the great work that our work groups are doing, and always want to highlight our partners. So it's not that we wanted to shirk you at the end. Apologies for that. Anybody else have any last minute comments they want to add? So I'll send y'all back to the cold days. All right. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, everyone.
And follow up with those slides.